Hi everyone! In this video we're going to talk about statistics and populations versus samples. Statistics is the science of collecting and analyzing data. It's the name of the class basically. Versus a statistic is a numerical value that describes data from a sample, and the same thing that we have in populations is called a parameter. A lot of people like to think of it as statistic and sample are both SS, so they sample statistic, and they'll say population parameter to remember that. Join me in this picture here with the population in black and the samples in potentially orange, but definitely in blue. Look at that orange sample on the left side of the screen. Is it completely inside of the population? No. So this is not a sample of this population. But the blue ones are all totally fine because they live entirely inside of the population. Notice that the population is a circle and all of the samples are also little circles, so they look just like the population. The notation that we use for the size of the sample is a capital N. The mean, which is the measure of center that we use for populations, is a mu. That's how you pronounce this letter here. It's a Greek letter. Standard deviation is a sigma for populations. For samples, we use little n because it's a small picture or snapshot of the population. For mean, we use x bar. And for standard deviation, we use S. In our class, we'll typically be working with populations because you can make a population be as small or as large as you want it to be. So you can manipulate a population to be as big or small or as defined as you want. If the population is small, then you're going to use the entire population and not make a sample. Typically, it's about 100 or less. Different classes have different amounts, but 100 different members of a population to work with is not too bad. But if the population is too large, think about like my example I have here is people who own an iPhone. That's a lot of people in this world. Then we're going to take a sample from the population instead. As I mentioned just a moment ago, samples of population should look, feel, and act like the population the sample is taken from, which is why the orange circle sample is not a sample of population. It's not even inside of the population. The example I have here is for a population as a CSULB student seeking a multiple subject credential program. And the sample we're going to use for this population would be all of my students in MTED 305 this semester. That's all I have to say about populations versus samples and what a statistic is or what the study of statistics is. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help you out. Have a great rest.